took place in Gary, Indiana, when I used to live in Gary, Indiana. And well, Gary is in northwest Indiana. And you have Ham in the east, Chicago Harbor, Gary, Hobart. Anyway, they call this region the Calumet region. And out of all the places I lived in the U.S., um, I think there's more lunatics that live in the Calumet region than any place I've ever lived. Very unique. Anyway, this story is going to be about one of them that I met. And his AKA was Momo. And I don't want to say his real name, but that's what he went by, because he still has living relatives, and out of respect for them, I would prefer just to use his AKA Momo. Anyway, Mo was well, for one thing, where I was living in Gary, Indiana, was an area they called Miller, and it was on Lake Michigan. Anyway, Mo was out in his jet boat, and he was drunk, and he crashed his jet boat. He evidently hit a wave, and he overturned it. And a couple guys on the beach saw what happened, and they drug him to the beach, and he wasn't breathing. They gave him CPR, even mouth to mouth, and that's what revived him, the mouth to mouth. And the thing is, the guy that was giving him mouth to mouth, when Mo woke up, he kissed him. And he told the guy, he said, "I don't know you," but he says, "I really appreciate what you're doing." And anyway, they knew they had a lunatic on their hands, and they were kind of wanted to get away from him. So they asked him, they said, "You know anyone in Miller?" And he said, "Well," he said, "I know the rat." And well, they knew the rat too, because the rat was one of my roommates. Anyway, they brought him to our house, and that's when I met Momo. Anyway, this guy was really interesting. He had joined the Marine Corps in the 50s during the Korean War. When he came out of boot camp, they sent him right to Korea. And this account that I'm going to tell you guys about, I read it on the internet. It was written by a guy that was in Mo's unit when this incident happened. Anyway, his squad was found themselves on a hillside, and they were pinned down by the Chinese, and the Chinese were up above them, and they couldn't get out. They were trapped, and their only hope was to have somebody flank them and kill them. Well, anyway, Mo volunteered to do this, and his weapon at that time was a BAR, a Browning automatic rifle, and Mo started running up the hill, and of course the Chinese they're shooting at him, and he's dodging bullets, and he managed to get all the way up to where they were at, and flanked them, and opened up on them with his BAR and killed them. Anyway, that saved these guys that were stuck down there. And anyway, he got out of the Marine Corps. And for some reason, he gravitated toward a life of crime. And I don't know. I don't know what makes a guy do that. I mean, he was obviously off to a good start. He was a warrior, and but and this particular story, he told me he happened to be there was a gang down in Louisville, Kentucky, that were they were knocking off a grocery chain called A&P's, and evidently the A&P stores, they had a safe that they used to store money, and these guys were blowing up the safes, and they needed a getaway driver, and Mo was recommended to him because he was a good driver, and he had balls like coconuts. And anyway, they recruited him, and he told me, he said his first job, they was waiting for him, and he said all the windows blew out of the store when he blew the safe open, and of course the cops are on the way. And anyway, the guys got out of there. They got in the car, and they were able to get out of the crime scene before the police showed up. Anyway, Mo said that eventually they made enough money where they could buy the safe that the grocery chain was using, and they learned how to open it up without blowing it up, and they started robbing the grocery chain when they figured out when money was in there, and they would open the safes that way. Well, anyway, according to Mo, he said the chief of police, they figured out who was doing this, and they called him in, and they told him, they said that they knew what he was doing, and he had a choice to make. He said, you can either stay in Louisville and keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to kill you. He said, or you can go back where you came from. So he decided to go back where he came from, which was the Calumet region. Um, anyway, Mo was quite a character. He, like I said, the whole time I knew him, I never knew him to have a regular job. He got into stealing cars, and that was a big business in Northwest Indiana for a long time, in the late 60s, 70s, I think even 80s. Um, and he got so good at it that he had a crew, ended up with a crew that would specialize in this. And they tended to specialize in Cadillacs, Lincolns, and anyway, it was a lucrative business, and it was didn't take long for the FBI to figure out who was doing this, and at least one of the guys doing it, and it was him. And he did time down in Terre Haute, the federal penitentiary down there, and doing time didn't bother him at all. It was like I don't know. It's I saw it in Pelican Bay too. A lot of guys, it's like a way of life, you know. Some consider doing time as their home, and when they get released, it's like being on vacation, and sometimes it's vice versa, you know, where they the outside is a home, and they go to prison, and that's like a vacation. But anyway, Mo ended up doing time there, and I visited him when he was in Terre Haute, and he introduced me to a cellie. And Indiana penitentiaries were different than in California. His cellie was a black guy, and the guy was big, and Mo introduced him to me. He said, "This is Cupcake." I thought, oh, I couldn't believe it. Anyway, um, fast forward to um, Indiana. Mo used to hang out in a place they called Calumet City. And Calumet City, there's a lot of crime there. Anyway, the bar he hung out at, there was some guy who wandered in there, and he had been drinking and he was belligerent. And Mo told the bartender, he says, "Hey, give my friend Mickey here a drink." Well, that was a signal for the bartender to slip this guy a Mickey, and of course, he passed out, and Mo and his buddies, they take his clothes off and left him with his work boots on, and put him up on the stage. And it was kind of a big joke. And when the guy finally woke up, they put a trench coat on him, and he was naked, except for his metatarsal boots, which that's what they wore in the steel mill. And he opened the back door and let him out in the alley. And this guy didn't know where he was at. He didn't even know his name. I could just surmise that the police found him wandering around naked with a trench coat on, and arrested him. And anyway, another time they were at this same bar, and the guy was acting up, and Mo did the same thing. They slipped him a Mickey, and he took him outside and handcuffed him to the parking meter. And anyway, the police, they show up and see this guy handcuffed to the parking meter. And Mo went out there, and he told the cops, he says, "Sorry, I didn't realize the meter was expired. Put money in, in the meter." And the cops, they got a big laugh out of that, and they drove away, and Mo went back in the bar. Anyway, that's just a couple of stories about Mo, and I definitely have more. Like I said, I was running out of material, so I thought I'll talk about some of the guys that I ran into in the Calumet region. And I want to thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next video. All right.